Hey everybody, just as I promised, here is the mock-up that I'm working on that's also supposed to be for my own personal use because it's time for another purse, and this time I thought I would hand make one because I wanted a certain style. This particular style, but with straps to be able to put it cross-bodied or put it over the shoulder, just for something different. And, of course, knocking out a few birds with one stone, also upcycling the dove quilt that became too tattered for its own original purpose. So why even waste that? As always, here's Blondie. Meow. Aw, here he is in his gorgeous golden strawberry blonde glory. Sweet boy you are, yeah. Even the Pisces is poised to fall in love with this little golden boy. Only 10 years old and still kept his youthful spirit. So sweet. So, finally, it seems like that time of the month is wrapping up. It's about time. That threw a wrench in at least a couple of weekend plans. If you're a woman, you know what I'm talking about. So, I'm moving in a couple of weeks. I still gotta keep getting ready for it so that I'm not scrambling by the time it's time to go. And on top of that, I also have some laundry I have to catch back up on because I can't afford to be disorganized when it's time to go. I haven't even had the chance to see the laundry in the basement down at the condo in person, so that I get an idea of how I will be managing that going forward. And the trash. Can't forget the waste management either. So I have to figure that out too before we cross that bridge. Brain's jumbling up, but I gotta figure out how I'll word the clunky logistics of yesterday's timeline versus the whole timeline itself, where things slowly became clunky to begin with. It could be directly connected, or at the very least, indirectly connected, because this is one of the times where we gotta do what the disclaimer says we do here. Because we ain't here to spread any hate, harassment, or anything like that to anyone. Because I'm here to discuss a little bit of everything and share what's on my mind. And way more than just the art of the law of assumption and manifestation of our goals and desires, too. Way more than just that. Hell, I haven't even done a damn makeup tutorial in years, and I gotta get back to my roots there. Not sure what even happened with my digital camera, but I still have the memory cards. And I also have to call the Goodwill out there to see if maybe they have that laptop. It must have gotten buried somewhere, but it's an HP Elite MacBook that has important documents on there, including movie outlines and scripts that I wrote prior to the 2022 move. It's probably buried in something if it wasn't unintentionally given away. I'm also trying to find a couple of flash drives where I backed some of these things up onto so I can get back to those and finish those up as well. Because I don't want all that hard work that I put into those to go to waste. Same as Presto the movie. I hadn't been able to recover it in years, but it's probably buried somewhere. I worked so hard on that movie. And since was already real to begin with, a redemption arc for one of the main characters and family secrets with some inside Easter eggs thrown in on top, it was made to be filmed for a reason and could make some kind of a profit after being filmed. And once I recover those, I have to scan those in and back those up so that I never misplace those again. But I don't know how I'm ever going to recover all those, since I'm still working on getting both a driver's license and a car, which took longer than it should have had to in the first place. But more on that later. And when that time comes, by that time, I should be able to word it correctly and still retain my quote-unquote famous authenticity. Hi there, sweetheart. Oh. Hey, baby. Are you worried? It sounds like it. Oh, Mr. Baby. Oh. Come on, sweetie. Cry to the audience, Blondie. That's okay. Good one. Meow to everybody. Oh, and let's show them your pretty eyes whenever you're ready, too. Yeah, you're just so pretty. That's okay. Who's a good boy? Blondie's a good boy. Who's a good boy? He loves that spoon. Yes, he does. Oh boy, he wants to take ownership of it. I'm getting my hair done again tomorrow. It's about that time, every 6 weeks, and now for an even more of a fraction of the cost that I was paying before, just to keep everything healthy and well maintained. Since I didn't get around to my normal Sunday task of creating the weekly to-do list, I gotta do that, and I gotta work out the last of the logistics with the curtain deal that I'm closing on with a new friend of mine, which I'm excited to complete, but this might become another Ko-Fi offering too. But that will be a surprise. It's just been really difficult to fit in promoting my Ko-Fi and all the other content and everything else outside of that too. I'm probably gonna re-transfer because the logistics there, despite the lighter work and shorter part-time shifts, the logistics aren't exactly ideal despite the good parts of it. Lighter duty work, cool people, shorter shifts, despite the clunky transfer process and the shit poor communication until just after the transfer kicked in. Yeah, that's still a dirtier blonde. Just want to make sure I don't have that awful line at the root when it grows out. I also have a very special 4th of July clip upcoming, so keep your eyes out for that. I got approved for some funding so that I can start the driving evaluation, which I knew I would get anyway, and I didn't even have to actively imagine for it. Mainly, I would look to the driver beside me to, in some circles, imagine myself in the driver's seat. Hell, I guess that works. I even caught up a little with an old friend. Damn, I gotta text him back. That should be amazing. I wasn't sure how the events of last week would even lead me to where I actually want to go, instead of continually missing the mark somewhere. But this is my channel, and this is the place where we discuss a little bit of everything. Here's Blondie again. I can hardly wait to begin the process of actually driving and getting my driver's license. It should be crazy exciting. Also, we will go ahead and start discussing nuances that you can't really dare talk about in a lot of spaces nowadays without being subject to purity testing of some kind, too. So keep an eye out for that. I'm just chilling out on the porch with Blondie in tow. Blondie! Hey, baby! Blondie! Such a beautiful kitty cat as always. As was our Budster. He was a big old baby too. I still have my vibe season codes too, and I couldn't continue the slide jewelry thing because the costs were starting to get to be too much, even though it was just shipping. A whole lot got in the way. Maybe I'll pick it up again later sometime, I don't know. But at this stage, at least vibe season has far less pressure, and it's my job to keep it real with everybody. Once I get a better setup, I would be more than glad to show off crafting while chatting. How does that sound to you guys? I know I've toyed around with the idea of craft and chat before, but haven't really been able to do much with that yet, due to logistics, mostly. Logistics and lack of proper setup. I thought I smelt a faint scent of honeysuckle or other flowers in the air. I also have my lavage still going strong. And my sorrel too. I gotta use those in something without wasting them, because they keep giving me good offshoots. Talk about reaping a plentiful harvest. Literally. And figuratively. Excuse the tongue twister. I'll get back to you if more pops up today, but at any rate, I will see you guys tomorrow, either before or after I get my hair done. I didn't have time to sit down and do the usual Tuesday clip, so here I am today after a root retouch. The shadow root starting to get a little too much outgrowth, a little too much roots coming in. Last time I had a root tap, which didn't eat too much into it, but did kind of dirty the blonde up, and it's still blonde, just still a dirty. The blonde is still a dirty blonde, but not as deep as before. I was gonna just come in 6 weeks for a deep conditioner and cut, just to keep the ends dusted off and healthy. But since I'm probably gonna be doing some swimming in between that time, I probably should just go ahead and do a toner retouch and then do a full-blown root retouch in September. So I better get that going ahead of time. They know all my ins and outs because, as they know, real clients and real practitioners never follow the sterile corporate scripts prescribed in the textbooks. Life outside the institutions never follow those scripts, excuse me. And quite frankly, neither do institutions. They don't. They probably never have. And yet, the textbooks still keep teaching those clinical sterile scripts when maybe they need some updating. And that's not to lay any blame on anyone. I'm simply stating what I've observed in the field. Speaking of licenses, I also have to check in on the insurance license to make sure I send the necessary documents to the right place, since I already did it with the NIPR warehouse. For those who don't know what NIPR is, it is the National Insurance Producers Registry, and they have the section called the warehouse where you have to upload certain types of documents like additional licensing, any actions or proceedings taken against you if, God forbid, that should ever happen, and background documents, if you ever need those. That's to keep a long story short. And since that first clip on Monday, I can't wait to show you the progress made there. But the scene unfolding on that piece of fabric, well, upcycled quilt, rather, is much better than what I originally envisioned. A simple vine going around the entire thing. I was gonna do that. But what came out instead will end up so much better than the original plan, while still keeping it simple, which we want to do in order to save time. Keep it simple, silly. And one of my other appointments had to be moved to Saturday, which ended up working out better than what was originally supposed to take place, because the student, she just graduated high school, and so she's out of town. What the hell? Are they gonna pull through here? Nope. They're going off into the distance, thank God. Holy shit. So when I get back, I'm gonna have to call back up MetLife and take care of that last charge so I'm not paying for a passed away pet. Poor baby. He was such a good boy, that Budster. Really a good boy. I'm just watching in the reflection on my phone. They didn't add any dye into the root this time, whereas the other school did, which could have dirtied some of the blonde as well. And here we are again. Yep, I did get these done. It was time. Probably going to do a hard gel overlay, and I kind of do like the swipes and the dots. Very Y2K and goes perfectly well with French tips or even the American. I'm probably going to do similarly to my feet too. And this time make sure that they do the lotion before or after. Probably after, since I'm probably going to get gel this time. And the topic of Muzak came up because at the school down the street where I got my nails done on South Merlin, instrumental versions of the pops were playing in order to work around the possibility of running into explicit lyrics. Frankly, the whole world's a fucking explicit place if you think about it, and doesn't fall into a clinical sterile box. The whole world is explicit. Life is explicit. Let's face it. Just like everything else in life is political to varying degrees. So you can never truly avoid the topic of politics. For that reason, you just cannot. But it's easy to forget that fact. Look at the clouds up there. A true blue sky. Not a disgusting chemtrail to be seen. Thank God. I haven't made any orgonite in God only knows how long. Anyhow, here's the... Oh, scalp. Get out of my damn scalp. Get. Damn. Whoa. Frickin' scalp flakes. Dandruff. Anyhow. There seemed to have been a lot of clunky curveballs this week. Logistical breakdowns, oversights, glitches. Sure, things still worked out in the end. However, we need to acknowledge both sides because it does us no good to suppress or hide our humanity Yeah, manifestation's a lifestyle, but that doesn't mean you're meant to be performing as a robot 24/7. People who already have their desires would not be doing that all the time. Even they have their bad days. Even they sometimes fall upon tough times. And those tough times, of course, as I've been learning and hearing, don't define what you put out in your own, 4D world, if you will. 4D imaginal acts, the world above, going above, if you will. This is one place to do that, of course. I can hardly wait to finish paying off the rest of the payments so that I can complete the purchase of my wall hanging that I bought from a local artist. I knew it was the one, despite the final asking price, of course. Oh God, excuse me. I also tried out a new place to eat, the Kanza Market, also on South Merlin. It actually does have a pretty good beef sausage sandwich. It's called Margaz, I believe. Beef sausage, since it's a halal market. I may have the rest of that later. We will see. Yeah, I definitely do plan on doing this kind of style on an American this time, either an accent nail or the 2 accent nails this time. We'll see. I do think it would be nice if we had silicone nail art brushes for the liner details, because it might help give all levels of nail techs and nail artists more precision control if the silicone is built correctly. And it would be easier to clean too than bristles. Just some food for thought on that. It is my job to be real and vulnerable with my audience. Even when you've actively set out to manifest your desired changes to your outside physical world, which of course are byproducts, and there's nothing wrong with desiring those inherently. Absolutely nothing inherently wrong with that. And I do mean inherently, but that's a story for later. It does no good to suppress your humanity when the timing seems to be running too slow, or you run into some clunky outside world curveballs that you didn't foresee for some reason, or maybe you oversighted something. Or maybe, as had happened on Thursday morning with one of my other partners, what was meant to be a light-hearted, affectionate, humorous remark had somehow landed extremely wrong on him, much to my surprise. In other words, it somehow didn't come across correctly. And of course, I acknowledged it, telling him maybe the sequencing wasn't correct, but I apologized and told him that it was meant to be light-hearted, humorous, and affectionate, and acknowledged that it somehow came across really wrong, which is all you really can do without sounding like a fucking gaslighter. Even revision isn't a linear process either, because even neurotypical humans are not 100% linear, but we're trained into it. They have more linear pacings anyway. Not to shit on one or the other. But more on that later. Once I gather more, I'll be right back. That was ridiculous.